What's up again, everybody? I'm Clayton. Welcome back to Ages of Film. And today, I'm going to be reviewing the new Superman that has just recently dropped in theaters. You can go check it out now if you'd like. So I've been going through all the Superman movies, reviewing them. We're on to the newbie. So, yeah. Gonna give my thoughts on this one, break it down. I'm gonna try to keep this spoiler free, understanding that there are still people out there that haven't seen it yet, that plan on seeing it, and I don't want to ruin that experience for anybody. So try to keep the spoiler free, while still giving my overall kind of thoughts and opinions on this movie. Just as a reminder, guys, this is just my opinion. All right, there's no need to be upset or offended by anything that I have to say. You're entitled to your opinion. I'm entitled to my opinion. Let's just have fun and be respectful about it in the comment section. All right. So if you've been following me, if you know me, you know that leading up to this movie, I did not have very high hopes coming into this film. I am a DC fan. I am a Superman fan. I like the character. But I'm not a big James Gunn guy. I wasn't really on board with James Gunn. I wasn't really a fan of the looks and some of the stuff that I was seeing online. I wasn't sold, man. I wasn't sold leading up to this movie. I saw this over the weekend and had a little bit of time to kind of gather my thoughts and put together what I wanted to say about it. So here we go. This is my opinion on the new Superman film. I gotta say, this movie was everything that I expected it to be. All right, which is very disappointing. I don't want to rain on anybody's parade. If you have seen this movie and you loved it, more power to you, man. Keep on loving it. All right. I don't want to rain on anybody's parade. I know there are a lot of people out there that are super excited for this movie, people that have seen it, that have loved it so far. And that's great, man. You like what you like. I would never want to rain on someone's parade like that. But for me personally, I was very disappointed with the film. And I'll try to explain why without ruining anything with the film. So I'll start by getting into the positives, and there were some good things about the film, some things that did work, and then I'll get into the negatives towards the end. But starting off with the positives, the things that I did think worked and that were good about this film. One of them was the visual effects. I think James Gunn does a very good job handling the visual effects. He's very experienced in this kind of genre. You know, he did the 3 Guardians of the Galaxy movies. He did a Suicide Squad movie. So he's very experienced handling CGI, handling visual effects, handling green screens, stuff like that. And it looks really good. You can tell it's in the hands of a competent filmmaker who knows how to put things together visually on screen and make it work. So the visual effects here were definitely a positive. That was something that was a strong point for the film. You know, when you have things that are easy to look at, it makes it easier on the eye to kind of take in and process. When you have visual effects that are handled well, there aren't things that are constantly sticking out, that don't blend well or are noticeably out of place. You don't get that with James Gunn. You know, he's very good at putting visual effects together in a way that works. So visual effects, positive. The cinematography, I think, was really good. You know, James Gunn's doing some really cool things with the camera. The framing was really good. The filters on the lens was good. I liked what he was doing with the cinematography in the film. I thought it looked good. I personally still prefer the cinematography style of, say, Zack Snyder over against James Gunn. When it comes to this type of world and genre, I think that Zack Snyder's style of cinematography works better in the DC universe than James Gunn's does. I think James Gunn's cinematography works really good in Marvel. It's kind of a lighter, more coy type of style of cinematography, which creates kind of a lighter mood and tone for his movie. I personally think that works better in Marvel than it does in DC. Snyder's cinematography was darker. It was, it had a certain aesthetic style to it that I thought put you in the proper mood and tone for DC characters and story. That's not to say that this was bad cinematography. It was good cinematography by James Gunn. It's just it's a difference of directing styles is what it is. But I do think the cinematography was good overall in this film. You could tell James Gunn has a certain style. I still think it looks good for the most part. Again, the tone and the mood was a bit light for me, if I'm being honest, but it wasn't bad cinematography by any means. So the cinematography overall was a positive for me. I liked the framing, the style, the look that James Gunn was creating. All that was very good. I thought the editing was good. It's a very well edited, well structured film. There's not really a whole lot of lag time or filler in there per se. The synchronicity of the shots are well synchronized. It's a well edited, put together film, and the world building is really good. The overall, metropolis and this world that James Gunn is creating, setting the tone for the future DC movies that are going to come out. This is the kickoff, the premiere, if you would, for the new DC universe in cinema. So, James Gunn is handling that. He's kind of setting the tone here, and the world building looks good. So that all of that, the technical side of filmmaking was on point in this film. I cannot criticize anything on a technical level that James Gunn was doing here. It was a very well made, structured, and put together film. And all that did enhance the viewing experience overall. If those things weren't there, that affects the viewing experience. So I give the movie and James Gunn credit for all of those things. However, and I'll move into the negatives here. So I'll start with the story. Wasn't really a fan of the story in this film. Because I just don't think that it had anything significant to really say that is of like, it's basically a story about, hey, we should be kind to people. Well, no shit, Sherlock. Obviously we should be kind to people. Like that message of being kind to foreigners, being kind to aliens, being kind to other people is kind of an obvious point, and that's basically outside of a political statement, which is very clearly suggested and put in the film. Outside of that, this isn't really a movie that has anything significant to say, to offer on a meaning level, on a story level. This wasn't a movie that lingered with me at all. Like it's not a story. It wasn't a story that made me think through anything philosophically or made me question my stance on morals or ethics or politics or anything like that. Like it didn't have anything meaningful really to say that isn't already obvious of, hey, we should be kind to people. Again, duh. We should be kind to people. Like it's not anything deep or profound. And then there's obviously a very clear political statement that's in the film. I don't think that's a stretch to say that. James Gunn himself, the writer of this film, the director of this film, James Gunn himself has stated recently, this movie is about politics. It's about immigration. He has said that himself. So I don't think it's a stretch to say that that's what the film is about when the very filmmaker, the writer and director has come out and said that that's what the film is about. Why is it a stretch to say, well, this is just a movie about immigration and a political discussion when that's literally what the filmmaker himself said this movie is about. So again, the story just didn't do anything for me. It didn't do anything for me on a story level, and that was disappointing for me. The characters here, none of the characters were characters. They didn't make me invest with any of these characters. I feel like you take Superman, the lead character of this movie, the main character. He has no arc in this film. He's literally, the way that he starts, the way that he's introduced is the same way that the movie leaves off. Like there's no change in his character at all in this film. He's a flat character. There's no arc. There's very little development with Superman at all in the movie. There's a point in the film where he says that he thought his parents sent him here to be a good person and to save the world. But it's like, why? Where did you learn what being good is? Where did you learn your sense of morality? You didn't know your biological parents, and we only get like 2 scenes in the entire 2-hour film with his adopted parents, Jonathan and Martha. We get like literally 5 minutes of screen time with Martha and Jonathan Kent in the entire film. And yet Superman's whole purpose is around a moral issue of being kind and good to the world. But if we don't see any development of that, if we don't see where that came from, why it's there, anything like that, I'm left as a viewer thinking, well, why? Why did you come to this point? How did you come to this point of, the world, everyone is beautiful? And like there's a line where Lois even tells him, you just see the beauty in everybody and you just think everything is beautiful and everyone's lovely. But how? Why did he come to have that outlook on life? We see in Man of Steel, in the Snyderverse, why Clark has a much darker view of humanity, why he doesn't think humans are all that good, because of the way he is treated from childhood to adulthood. We see what shapes his morals and his ethics and why he is the way he is later on in the movie. We don't get any of that with Superman in this movie. He's literally an adult the entire runtime. We get no development with him and his earthly parents. We get zero scenes with him and his biological parents in this film. So it's like your whole purpose is around this idea of, I believe I was sitting here to do good, to be a good person. I'm going to save the world. And it's this whole morality tale, but we have zero development of where this morality came from or why you have it, why you have this outlook on life. I didn't buy the chemistry with him and Lois. She's supposed to be the woman that he loves, and yet they're arguing and bickering for like an entire 10-minute scene. And we're told that it's something that happens kind of frequently. So it's like, you really expect me to buy that you're madly in love with this girl when she's not even sure that she's in love with you? And when we have this 10-minute scene of you guys fighting and we're told that this is kind of a regular thing, why am I expected to buy y'all's romance, y'all's chemistry there? I don't buy it. I don't think that the actor who played Superman, David Cornsworth, Cornswet, I don't buy him as Superman. I'm sorry, I don't. We don't get a whole lot of him as Clark. He doesn't play Clark any differently, really, than he plays Superman. His only disguise is a pair of glasses. That's it. There's nothing really in his behavior or voice or mannerisms that's really any different than how he is as Superman. So why no one else is able to recognize Clark as Superman is beyond me. The actor who plays Lex Luthor, Nicholas Hoult, again, I don't buy him as Lex Luthor. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people will disagree with me on that. There's nothing dark about him. Like when you watch what Kevin Spacey did as Lex Luthor in Superman Returns, you can tell just looking in that guy's eyes, there's something dark with this guy. There's something dark with his soul. I don't get that with Holt at all. There's nothing intimidating about him. There's nothing dark about him. The only scenes where he's supposed to be menacing, he's just making this gnarly face and just acting all mad and stuff. But it's like everyone gets mad. Like, why does that make you any darker or more villainous of a character just because you can make an angry face? Like, there needs to be something in your presence as an actor, the way you carry yourself on screen, that to let other people know, to cue other people in, this is a bad dude. Like, this is if you're supposed to be cunning, show us something in your acting that's manipulative, that's cunning. If you're supposed to be dark and intimidating or just psychotic, show us something in your demeanor that is dark and psychotic and menacing. If you're supposed to be, jolly and fun loving or whatever, give us charisma, man. And we didn't get any of that, in my opinion. This is a very forgettable Lex Luthor, in my opinion. I could easily see myself a few months from now totally forgetting anything that Luthor did in this movie or anything that he said in this movie. The acting was just not really there for me by some of these main characters. And that was disappointing for me. I still don't like the look of Superman in this movie. The costume design just looks cheap, tacky. It's not even an S on his chest. It's just this weird little ziggly line. It's not even an S. Like, who are we getting? The costume itself looks like something you could buy off Amazon for $10. The red trunks, again, this is not 1930 Smallville anymore. Like, this is 2025. Can we move on from the red trunks? They've moved on from the red trunks in the comics. They moved on from the red trunks in the DCEU. Why we're harping back to the 1950s, I don't know. But it doesn't look good. And there's no emotional depth to this movie at all. There wasn't a single scene that moved me in any way. There's one scene with Clark and Jonathan where they're at the farm, and it's supposed to be this really moving scene that's supposed to just move us. But I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, that was it. That was all you have for any type of emotional effect. There's no development there between father and son. All it is just this kind of motivational speech, like, you're a good son, Clark, and you're a good person, and we're proud of you. Okay, what parent isn't proud of their child? Like, what parent doesn't love their child? It's like, okay, we have no reason to think that you wouldn't feel these things toward your son. And also, it was just like a couple of minutes, and then it was done. And I had no prior investment with their relationship or with Jonathan and Martha. It was, I could keep going. I could go on, but I feel like I'm already going to get a lot of pushback. I'm already going to get a lot of trolls for this negative review. So I probably should pump the brakes there, but I'm going to keep going. Perry White was a joke. Nothing was done with Perry White in this movie. I was going to say something about Jor-El and Clark's and Cal's biological parents. I won't, because I don't want to spoil that. But yeah, this movie just didn't do any, like, there was even a moment in the scene where I got up to go refill my drink, and I knew I wasn't going to miss anything. I was just bored. I was bored because it wasn't doing anything for me emotionally. The humor that's another thing. The humor in this film, one, didn't work at all. There wasn't a single scene that made me laugh. There wasn't a single scene that made me chuckle. The humor, the attempted humor by James Gunn didn't work. And it was at the story's expense because it would come in scenes that should have been taken very seriously, should have been setting a darker tone and a more serious tone. And then James Gunn would throw some stupid attempt at humor in the movie, just cuts you right out of feeling what you should feel in that scene. It was at the story's expense because when I get the sense as a viewer that the filmmaker in the story isn't taking itself serious, why should I take the movie serious? Why should I take the story serious when you yourself aren't taking it serious? And so the poor attempts at humor and writing, again, made me feel like I was in a Marvel movie, not in a DC movie. I feel like you could take Superman out of this movie, put Star-Lord from the MCU in this movie, and it fits right in. There's no change between style of how James Gunn would have directed a Guardians movie versus how he would direct a DC movie, a Superman movie. I didn't feel like I was in a Superman film or that I was in a DC film. It felt like I'm in a Marvel movie, a James Gunn Marvel movie. You could replace Superman with Star-Lord or Gamora or Drax, and it would fit right in with that MCU universe. So yeah, I'll leave it at that. My overall rating here, I'm going to give this a 2 out of 5. Not a fan of this movie. I don't think it was very good. It was well made on a technical level. I give it credit for that, give it props for that. But this film was what I expected it to be, which was a disappointment. The characters didn't do it for me. The dialogue didn't do it for me. The story didn't do it for me. The performances didn't do it for me. I've heard some other reviews of this movie and all the praise that people want to give it, and I'm just like, I didn't see any of that. I can't but disagree on 99% of the praise that people want to hail this movie for. So that's my opinion on this movie. 2 out of 5. There you go. Didn't spoil anything. Go check out the movie anyways. Let me know your thoughts on the film. If you have seen it, let me know your thoughts in the comments section. Again, I ask that you be respectful. This is just opinions, guys. This was just my opinion on the movie. So thank you guys for stopping by and tuning in. And until next time, you freaks, kick it and rock on.